Hello, friends. So, just got done with our very first session of the 90-day intensive, and I gotta tell you, I am so excited about the group of people that I am working with. They are complete rock stars, going to just continue to get better. I am so amped. But during our conversation today, it brought to mind a reminder for me on this Tough Love Tuesday, some ways to damage morale and create a toxic culture in 3 easy steps. Now, these people aren't doing this that I'm working with, but we talked today about the mandatory requirement for extreme ownership being where leadership starts and stops 100% with you. And one of the things that I often see are people, these 3 things that they do are super common. Leaders across the board tend to create toxic culture unintentionally, and just these 3 easy steps. So let me share with you right now what those 3 easy steps are so you can avoid them. Number 1, avoid a hard one-to-one conversation about somebody's behavior and instead just create a new personnel policy or add something to the handbook and hand it out in a staff meeting. Guys, I see this one a lot. And let me tell you, you're not fooling anybody. It's super evident when that happens. Everybody knows what's going on and that this new policy was actually just written for one person. And it's not a good look. So don't avoid hard conversations. Have those hard conversations and don't just make blanket policies for everybody in an organization because you don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation with one person that's actually having the issue. Step number 2. Talk about the real reason that you had to make that policy to everybody except the person you had to make it for. I'm going to assume none of you have actually been this boss, but what if you've had this boss where someone has had this boss that maybe you're complaining or someone's complaining about the new policy and they're coyly they're not saying anybody's name, but they're talking exactly about who is at fault. Everybody knows. They're using nuance and they're shifting blame for having made that policy and that everybody's now suffering the consequence onto that one person the policy was made for. Do not do that. Also severely damages morale, feeds toxicity. You do not talk about your employees or people that you supervise to other people on the team ever, unless they also directly supervise them and you're coming up with a way to solve the problem. Do not talk about your staff members' issues to other people, and don't blame them for a blanket policy when you should have had a one-to-one conversation. Like, that's a double negative. Another way to create toxic culture. Third thing, keep blame shifting, guys. Instead of looking at yourself and taking ownership for when something goes wrong, keep giving the reason being your team member's performance that you're accepting as the norm because you're refusing to engage in the conversation to make it better. You absolutely get what you tolerate. You do not get what you preach. You do not get what you talk about as the values of your organization or the way you want to run a team. You get what you tolerate. So make sure that you are having hard conversations. Real life, that is my dog. Make sure that you have hard conversations. You're not avoiding them. You're not making blanket policies for everybody when really, truly you should just be talking to one person, and stop blame shifting. Everything comes back to you. You are responsible for what goes on in your organization, on your team, in your business. Own it. All right, guys, until next time, go manage like a leader.